value in how you engage with our cloud reservation software. Most of you are using it all day, every day, so we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the bells and whistles that it has to offer. So now today we're going to talk about two major topics. I'm going to try to keep it to 30-45 minutes. If you have to hop off, no big deal. I've got these recorded and we post them online for you. So the two major things today we'll talk about is tags. So the tagging feature, the differences between them, how to get them set up, and some practical ideas of how to use them. And then the second thing that we'll talk about today, and we'll go through and I'll walk you through the setup, is extended rates. So recently here we added the ability to offer extended rates. So I'll show that to you, and also some practical ideas. Now in general, I don't know about you guys, but Thanksgiving was good. We got our Christmas tree up. My daughter has a play on Thursday, which is exciting. Elf on the Shelf is out, which is exciting. I always tell myself I'm gonna get all my shopping done online, but I end up procrastinating until the last minute. So here's your reminder, start your shopping. Don't be like me and wait till the last minute. Okay, before I actually start showing you stuff here, I wanted to do a poll question because I'm curious for my own benefit. So I'm going to send this out here. If you guys would kindly answer that, please. So what I'm looking to find out here is, are you guys actually using tags? So do you currently use tags, whether they're people tags or reservation tags? So if you would kindly hit yes, no, or what is that, and then we'll walk you through it and show you some best practices there. So go ahead and fill that out for me, please. And I'll shut that down here in about 10 more seconds. Okay, so here's what you guys said. So it looks like you guys are using tags, so that's a good thing. So maybe what I'll do here is I'll just kind of high level go through this, just make sure we're all on the same page as it relates to the tags, being that you guys are using them, but I think this is a good reference point that we can do on this recording. So tags. So within the configuration section, we've got some different tags here, two different types of tags, right? We've got people tags, which applies to your guests. It applies to the people that are coming and staying. So anywhere in this system where you've got guest name or guest information, that's where those tags are associated, okay? So if I just come into my demo database here, some examples. They have X amount of repeat visits. They get a discount for friends and family. They like to bike. They're interested in cross sales. They have a gift certificate. They like to hike. They have allergies. They enjoy the opera. Whatever it is that you guys find value in tracking, that's the point of the person tag associated to the actual guest, right? And then we have our reservation tags, and these are specific to that reservation. That one-time reservation is kind of the theory behind this. So on that reservation, are they celebrating an anniversary or a birthday? Have they booked a boat because you have a lake? Do they need an early arrival? Are they a part of a group? Do you offer lock-off? They need a parking spot. They're bringing a pet. They're getting a specific package, et cetera, right? So reservation tags, in theory, are the tags in which that are associated to that one-time reservation, that specific reservation itself, right? Okay, so that's the difference between the two tags. This is where you come in the configuration section under customization to actually set up those tags, okay? Now, there's a couple things I want to show you here, okay? Let me jump into a reservation on the occupancy map. Let me show you something. So on this particular reservation, if I click this here and I get my dialog box that pops out, on the fly, I can add a tag right here from the occupancy map to this specific reservation, right? So this is where I'm adding a tag that already exists. If I need to create a new tag, I need to go into the backend configuration where I just was. So keep that in mind. So let's say that this has an anniversary, okay? So that way I've let my staff know that this is an anniversary, and if we do anything special, like mention it or thank them or give them a complimentary, champagne or whatever it is that we do at our property, this is how we know, and this is where it will display. Same thing is to be said down here where we're talking about our group members, right? Everything up here, guys, is related to the reservation. Then we get down here and we're actually seeing the person. So I just picked test as a dummy person in my database. So this is the actual guest, right? Now, if I jump in to view this person right here, I can then add a tag right to them specifically, right? Now, anywhere that this person goes, this is going to follow. So if I were to close out of this reservation and jump into my people section and look up test, I'm going to see that allergies tag now there, right? So let me just refresh the screen. Okay. Now, here's something that I want to point out to you guys, okay? This is important. Now, with tags, they can be marked as important or flagged as an important tag, okay? Now, what that means is that in various different sections within the program, that tag is going to display versus if they're not marked as important, they won't display. So an example would be the dashboard, or an example would be reports, okay? So I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come to my people's tags. I'm going to take that allergy tag and I'm going to mark it as important and I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to come into the reservation tags and I'm going to do the same thing with the anniversary. Now, notice out here on this overview page of the tags, it's going to show me, is it flagged as important or is it not flagged as important? And that's a quick way for me to see on the fly if I need to make an adjustment, and you'll see what it looks like when they're not. Now that I've marked those two flags as important, I'm going to jump back to this reservation. And I want you to see that this allergies as an example is now displaying here. Whereas before, when I had selected it, if I would drill down into that view person, or I go into their specific contact log in the people section, I would see it on their record. But now that I've marked it as important, it's now displaying here in plain sight wherever this reservation goes and wherever this person goes. Whereas, as an example, I had this anniversary tag not flagged as important, but it still showed up on this reservation because it's practical to that one-time reservation, right? So hopefully that theory and that setup makes sense to you. Now, let me show you a couple other places where important tags display. I'm going to jump back to this dashboard, and hopefully you guys are utilizing this as a high-level overview of your day-to-day operations, who's coming and going, reservations, notes, etc. If I actually click on this particular reservation on the dashboard that I was just looking at, now you're going to see all my reservation tags are going to be on this kind of invisible line here. So anywhere you see a briefcase is a reservation. This is the reservation. Here are reservation tags. Anywhere you see the little person icon with the head, this is my person or my guest information, and anything on this line item, I'm going to see the actual person tag. So you'll see how they're distributed there, and it's specifically on that invisible line for a reason, right? So to me, this is a way for your front desk staff or you or whoever's greeting people and they're coming and going, as long as I have the appropriate tags that I need to pay attention to, and as long as I'm setting those tags up to be flagged as important, they're going to be displaying in the appropriate places within the reservation software, so that way your staff isn't missing very key components of making sure that you're providing a very intimate, user-friendly guest experience, right? That's the whole goal. We want them to come back. We want them to have a great time. We want them to talk nice about us to friends and family and on TripAdvisor reviews, right? So that's an example of when flagged as important where these tags can show up, as well as on the actual reservation on the occupancy map like I just showed you. And then the last place, and this is relevant as well for those of you that are active in your reports, if I'm running reports, if I have those tags, whether they're person tags, whether they're reservation tags, if those bad boys are flagged as important, then you're going to see them here on various different reservation style reports, as well as housekeeping reports as an example. So the reason why I wanted to cover this today is we were traveling here and I got an opportunity to stop in Frisco and visit one of our clients face to face. and I was just asking how things were going. And one of the things that drove her crazy was that she says, hey, you know, I'm a ski town and I give out discounts for repeat members and different levels of loyalty programs, and I'll be damned if my staff isn't missing those specific details. We are using the tags, it's just not good enough. And with further review, they just didn't have those flags marked as important, and they didn't know where that information displayed. And once we got those settings set up for her, she was ecstatic, the staff was ecstatic. So I just want to make sure that for those of you using it, which it looks like all of you, I want to make sure you understand the theory behind the people tags go to the guests. The reservation tags are more one-time usage for deliverables or important information. And then we need to make sure which ones we want to flag as important so that they display in various sections of the program. So hopefully that makes sense. And guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in, and I'll do my best to address them at the end or follow up with you directly. Okay, transitioning here, I want to move on to extended rates. So I have another poll that I'd like you to answer, pretty please. So this one here is just that. So have you set up extended rates? Yes, no, or you know, show me, and maybe I will because I'm interested, right? So do me a favor and go ahead and fill that out. Let me kind of know where you guys sit here, and we'll dive into that particular feature and talk about some practical examples, and then you guys can decide if they're relevant or not for your business. So go ahead and fill that out for me. I'll close it down in about 10 seconds. Okay, and let's share the results here. And what do we got? So looks like 71% of you said no, I'm not. 29% said show me, I may want to. So I think those two kind of answers go hand in hand. So let me move that away, and then let's kind of talk about this here. So I'm going to jump into the configuration section here. And before I actually go into rate plans, let me talk about what an extended rate is, okay? The way our reservation software is set up is to display nightly rates, right? That's how most of you are doing things, right? You come stay 2 nights, and I'm going to charge you for each night, and then we're done here, right? You come and stay for 4 nights, excuse me, I'm going to charge you for 4 nights, and we're good. Well, the point of extended rates is to have a rate, one rate for a specific length of time, okay? So as an example, there are resorts, family-style resorts that offer a different type of experience than, say, a bed and breakfast or a hotel, because they have lakes, and they have fishing, and they have guided tours, et cetera, right? So in those specific instances, those people want to have a 7-night-long rate within, you know, their busy season. And in those instances, when you take a nightly rate 7 times, it doesn't really add up that great. And then some of those people, some of those properties that then want to add additional things into that rate and make more money off that rate during specific times of the year, it's not as easy to do so within just using a nightly rate and adding packages, because you can't necessarily make it mandatory, right? So what this extended night rates allows you to do is it allows you to say, okay, I want you to stay 7 nights in my busy season, as well as anyone that stays, I know they love to rent a boat, so my rate is going to include the price of a boat rental. And when you display it, you're displaying it as one price, okay? So you get, at this rate, you get those 7 nights, and you get this boat for each day of your stay, right? And it also looks cleaner when you're selling it. It looks cleaner on your invoices, so you're not showing 7 individual nightly prices and then 7 individual boat rentals for each of those days. It's a lot more streamlined way within the system to set it up. So that's the idea behind extended rates. Let me give you another example. Let's say that you're a boutique style property and you offer romance packages in the month of February, but you want to ensure in that romance package that you're getting at least 3 nights of that reservation, and in exchange you're willing to give the 4th night for free. Well, as you guys all probably know, that isn't the easiest thing in the world to set up within the existing reservation software the way the rates are configured. However, what extended rates allows us to do is it allows us to say, okay, I'm going to have a set price for that 3-night stay, and I'm going to manually calculate what that total is with the 4th night being free. So when you stay 3 nights, here is your total price, and that includes the 4th night free, as well as if you want to include any package items like flowers or champagne or wine or anything like that, right? So there are some creative ways to get this thing set up. So let's kind of walk through it, and I'll show you what it looks like, okay? So within our configuration section, we're going to come down to the rates area, and we're going to go into our rate plans. And we're either going to create a new rate plan or we're going to pick an existing rate plan. And for today's purposes, I'm going to pick an existing one. So within my bed and breakfast queen beds rate plan, I'm going to go ahead and add a new rate. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say add rate. And I'm going to name this rate, and I'll just use my first example. This is going to be our weekly rate. Okay, and then I determine if I want this thing to be bookable online or online or not through my booking engine, my website, and then I need to determine what type of rate is this. Is this a daily rate or is this one of our extended rates? So in our example, it's going to be an extended rate. And then as you guys are probably familiar, you have some other options if you want to tie promotional codes or taxes or fees, default packages, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So let me just do this here. So I'm going to save this new rate that we've created, and you see it adds it here to the list. And now we need to go in and we need to actually add a season, right? Season meaning we need to determine when this actually applies, okay? So for this example, I'm going to say this applies in my busy season, and my busy season doesn't start until May. And okay, what am I going to do here? Now, what do I want that season to be? So back to my first example, I'm going to set up a 7-day rate, a week-long rate, right? So I want it to start on May 1st, and I want that flat rate to be $12.99, and I want it to include 2 people, and I want it to last for 7 days, okay? So you can come and stay at my property, and you have to stay 7 nights, and I'm going to charge you a rate of $1,299. Now, we've got some additional options, right? If we didn't want it to be 7 nights, we can make it whatever we want. Stay 3 nights, get the 4th night free type thing, right? So you can have those options. Stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free, et cetera, et cetera. You've got a holiday weekend, Labor Day, Memorial Day, and you want to ensure that people are staying, and maybe you want to upcharge for that specific time frame because historically you know you're busier because something's going on in town or people in your area like to travel, right? We can then set within this season some more specifics. Do we want a minimum length of stay or a maximum length of stay? So I could set a 7-night long rate and require a specific minimum or maximum, as well as do I want to charge differently if someone brings more than 2 people, or if they bring kids or dogs or whatever it is that you guys do at your property, right? Now, here's another thing that I find to be pretty powerful within this particular extended rates option. We can open or close this particular season to arrival or departure. So back to both examples, okay? The first example, I've got a family resort that wants a 7-night long stay in the summertime, and I know for a fact that they do Saturday to Saturday reservations. They don't want you coming in on a Monday and staying to Monday, but then nobody wants to book on Tuesday, so they force you to come Saturday to Saturday in their busy season, excuse me. So we need to determine what nights these are closed and people cannot arrive on, as well as what nights people can depart on. So you've got some flexibility to control the specific day of the week that they can or cannot arrive on, as well as the specific day of the week that they can or cannot depart on, right? So I think that's pretty powerful. So what I've done here is within my busy season, starting in May, you've got to stay 7 nights. You can only come Saturday to Saturday, and I'm requiring, or I'm saying that that rate includes 2 people. And then we've got another option down here that says allow extra days. Well, what does that mean? Okay, well, here's what it means. At that family resort example, I'm asking you to stay Saturday to Saturday, 7 nights at this price, but if you want to stay at 8th night, you can, or a 9th night, or a 10th night, et cetera, et cetera. I can set how many minimum or maximum extra days on top of that original 7-day length that you have the option to stay, as well as I can now determine what that extra daily rate is. And if you'll notice what's happening here, it's already pre-populating a rate in there for me. So basically what it's doing is the system is intelligently taking this number divided by this number and saying, hey, is that what you want to add for any of those extra days? If not, you want to charge more, you want to charge less as an incentive, you've got some flexibility here and some options, okay? But nonetheless, as far as setting up an extended rate, this is how it works and how you go about it, and hopefully I've given you some practical examples here. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then I want to show it to you, okay? So for those of you not familiar, whichever rate you see at the top of this list here is the rate that is going to display on the occupancy map, okay? So in walking you through this example, I want to show you this new weekly rate I created and what it looks like on the occupancy map so you can be familiar with it, train your staff around it. So I need to change the order of this display. By clicking on the change order button, I now come in here, and if you notice, if I hover over any of these, I get that 4-way arrow icon. My mouse now changes to a new icon, and this is a universal icon for, hey dude, you can click and drag me wherever you want. So I'm going to click and drag this to the top of this list here, and I'm going to save it. And now it's moved that to the top here, and as I just described to you, this is now what I'm going to see on my occupancy map as it relates to this specific rate plan, this rate plan, and the units that have that associated. So I'm going to jump back into my occupancy map, and I'm going to move my calendar forward to the date I said that is going to start, which is out here in May. Okay, now I want you to pay attention to what you're seeing here. Let me explain it, okay? Here is the $12.99 rate I just created for that rate plan, which is tied to my Suite of Dreams, my Broken Arrow, and my Big Apple, right? All these other units move down to that second rate that was listed there in that display when I move those around, okay, because it applies to them. Now, notice here, I've got this little number 7 and this little arrow. So it's telling me here, hey dude, you created a 7-night rate, and here's the total for that 7-night rate, right? So that's what we've done. Now, because maybe as a manager, an owner, whatever, you're the one setting up these rates, but you got staff turnover, or you set this up in December and it doesn't apply till May, and not everyone's as familiar, or someone forgets. There's a lot of stuff going on for everyone to remember. So we tried to put some checks and balances in here so that way we don't make mistakes as front desk staff or reservationists or whoever is dealing with the guests on the phone, walk-in, what have you. So I'm just going to click and drag here 3 nights, Tuesday through Thursday, and then in this dialog box over here, you notice it's got this pop-up, right? And this is our checks and balances, and it's saying, whoa, buddy, hey, warning, whoop, whoop, whoop. Your selection does not meet the following restrictions. It's closed to arrivals on Tuesday, we're closed to departures on Friday, the rate requires a 7-night stay. So hopefully, as you get familiar with this and you explore it and set it up and test it and train your staff around it, you guys are paying attention to these checks and balances or warnings that we've put in place here, right? Now, what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to completely shut it down to where you couldn't do anything else, because as soon as we do that, we're going to get a whole bunch of upset people saying, hey, I set up this extended rate, I want it to be 7 nights at this price, however, I got on the phone, I'm willing to negotiate, I need heads in bed, so I want to make a 3-night reservation, you need to allow me. So we allow you, but we're just warning you of what's happening here, right? So you need to handle that with your staff and your processes and procedures. Now, let me go ahead and make an actual legitimate reservation here that applies. So I'm going to take Saturday to Saturday, and when I've done it appropriately and make an arrival and a departure of Saturday and Saturday for 7 nights, notice that that warning or that check-in balance isn't there because I've appropriately made a reservation that meets all of those restrictions that I set up within that rate plan and that rate season. Okay. Now, something else to pay attention to here is you'll notice that the whole idea behind this is so that you have a cleaner, better approach, more flexibility, as I mentioned, cleaner invoices, etc. So you'll notice here that the entire rate is put on the first night of this reservation. So it's not breaking it down nightly, because otherwise you'd just have a nightly rate and go ahead and make that reservation. And it's putting all of those fees or those charges, that invoice line item, on the first night of the reservation. And the reason why we decided to do that is we polled a bunch of people that use extended rates in their business, and from an accounting standpoint, they felt it was best to put all those charges at the first night of the stay. So as an example, if someone books the last day of December and that 7-night stay rolls into January, you know, where does the revenue go from an accounting standpoint? Is it in December's numbers, January's numbers, etc.? So anyways, that's what we've done there. So again, guys, the idea behind the extended rates is to allow some more flexibility, allow you to potentially add some packages and show it as one total price, and help them understand and sell that experience. So we've walked through the flexible options of setting that up in the back end there. So as it relates to today and the usability of the program, I'm hoping you guys have a better understanding of tags, both from a people, a guest, as well as a reservation, a one-time scenario. I hope you understand that you can mark those as important, and they will display not only from the occupancy map, but also the dashboard, as well on various reports, housekeeping reports, arrivals, departures, stayover reports. And then from a rate standpoint, setting up these extended rates, giving some practical examples, 7 nights long, stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free, how the invoices display, how it displays on the occupancy map, okay? Now, let me talk about a couple other things before you guys take off, pretty please. If you have ideas or usability comments or anything like that, please feel free to email me or call me. I would love to hear what you have to say. We don't use this solution for our business, so it is imperative that we constantly get feedback from our properties, our clients, to make this thing better. Even if it's the smallest thing in the world, I would love to hear it, please. Also, we do a user forum on the 2nd Tuesday of every month, if you're not familiar. In that particular webinar, it's interactive, so you can actually ask questions, get feedback from your peers, see what other people are doing and how they're using the program. So we're just trying to give you guys a couple different options to make sure that you're getting the most value out of this solution for your business and what it is that you're paying for, okay? So please sign up here. Also, we're currently testing a release now. And in that next release, one of the things I think that's valuable that clients have said they're interested in is on the occupancy map, you're going to be able to add some colors to the actual units over here on the left-hand side, okay? And what those colors will allow you to do is it's for organizational purposes, for quick flow purposes. So as an example, if you have multiple properties and you're running all your units in one database, you can distinguish between the 2 properties. So you can make reservations more efficiently. If you have room types and different rate plans for your king rooms versus your queen rooms versus your suites, you can color coordinate those on the occupancy map, so it's very easy for people to understand which rates apply to which unit and what the features of those units are. As well as you can even color individual units. So as an example, if you have a jacuzzi tub in some units but not others, you could distinguish that. If you have a mountain view or a beach view or you know, whatever it is that you guys offer that uniquely identifies one unit from the next. That's the idea, is to provide more efficiency for you there. So hopefully that's helpful, guys, and thank you so much for your time today. As usual, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to speak up. We can't help you until you let us know that you need some type of help, and we can better understand your business and find out how the product can work best for you. So thanks again for your time. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys all have a wonderful holiday season. Take care. Bye-bye.